Hey guys, hope you're doing well. We're in the middle of the first week of Advent. This is the 4 weeks that are leading up to Christmas, in which we're preparing our hearts for the arrival of Jesus. And I want to spend just a couple minutes thinking about this first theme, that Jesus is our hope. Personally, He is our hope for a redeemed, reconciled relationship back to the Father. And then, on a more larger global perspective, we know that Jesus is the only hope of the entire world. And so, right now, we find ourselves in between the two arrivals of Jesus. And so, we can look back and remember and celebrate that 2,000 years ago, Jesus came as a baby, as a child, Emmanuel, God living with us. He came as the Messiah and the Savior of the world. And we know that in the future, He will come again. We expectantly wait and we have hope that He will come as the King, and that He will fully complete God's kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. And where Revelation 21 tells us that God will once again dwell among His people. And so I've been thinking about, what does it look like for us to live lives that are hope filled, living, believing, and truly trusting in God's coming kingdom and the reality of God's coming kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven in the year 2022. So, how can we live lives that are hope filled now of God's coming kingdom? And I got a newsletter this week. It came from a friend of mine that spent about 10 years living and working in Ukraine to strengthen the church in Ukraine. He's now in Romania with his family, but he's still in contact with a lot of his friends that are in Ukraine, a lot of the followers in this one city that he was connected to and lived for a long time. And he's writing about the dire circumstances, the absolute need that everyone has for food, water, security, for electricity, and for heat, especially as we get into the winter months. And in the midst of the hopeless situation of war and of pain, they're living lives that are truly hope filled. They're leaning and trusting into Jesus for every need that they have each day. And they're also trusting and hoping that God will use this terrible situation and turn it into something beautiful, something, a movement of people coming to Jesus across Ukraine. And so, digging a little bit more into this story in this newsletter, you can see three traits that the Ukrainian believers were truly, really embodying. The first one is that they were living hope filled lives where they were generously giving all that they had to others and the neighbors, knowing that God was going to meet their needs. They were expectantly waiting that whatever they need they had, that God was going to be able to provide for them. They're also living courageous lives, boldly proclaiming the message of Jesus, knowing that there was no other hope for themselves, for their family, for their nation, except the hope of Jesus. Um, and they are living lives that are not distracted. They have no other hope but the hope of Jesus. And so they are leaning into their trust and their hope that Jesus will turn this ugly, terrible, painful war and turn it into something beautiful, trusting in God's coming kingdom, that it will arrive here on earth as it is in heaven, that one day God will rule and reign over all, and that they can lean into that and they can live in light of that today. And so that's my encouragement for all of us. Spend a little bit of time speaking about the Lord, asking Him the question, what does it look like for me to live hope filled lives of God, your coming kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven today in 2022? And then I want you to go back and read Revelation 21 and 22. Allow the end of the story to truly fill your heart with hope of God's coming kingdom, as Eden will be restored. And like I said in Revelation 21, that God's will once again dwell among His people, that God will rule and reign over heaven and earth. All right. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you on Sunday.